Yo, haha, Miltnificent.
What is good, YouTube? Your boy Miltnificent coming back with another sneaker review, man. Today we got the Anthony Edwards 2 with love on the Miltnificent channel, and I did want to take a look at this series because, you know, after experimenting with the whole 81 series versus the low as well as the mid, I felt like the Anthony Edwards 2 was more of a low shoe than anything. So I'm gonna get into that momentarily, just because there were certain things that I noticed that when I put on the shoe, you could easily see certain differences between the first gen and the second gen. But let's take a look momentarily, actually right now. So the whole Anthony Edwards shoe, at least the box itself, it used to be a slide out. We're kind of accustomed and used to that, but I like this kind of like drop back box that they put in, but they kept kind of the design a little bit similar to in terms of the first one. But you can see right here the anthill logo. You can see, if you're looking carefully, it's kind of like an E incorporated with the A. That makes sense. That's the whole idea behind that design, with the ant hill type of logic. And of course, this one is more, gave you like a matte glossy finish combination on the box itself. And of course, you see ant logos, Adidas kind of on the box itself. But then this is a size 13. Let me get into that momentarily, because I found that this was very interesting. This basically just kind of opens up this way. And I like the presentation. Of course, you can see right there in the back, AE2. But let's get straight to the shoe. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, I had a chance to put these on. And he started with the With Love colorway. With Love colorway, Ant-Man is from Atlanta. Right, so think of peaches, peach tree. So it kind of gives this peach colorway just as it did in the first generation of AE1s. I don't have the Pure Loves in the AE1 series, but kind of giving you the backstory. But the Pure Love was a tribute to his grandmother and his mom in terms of Anthony Edwards, because that was kind of their favorite colorway. Being the whole person in Atlanta, it kind of makes sense that you come out with a colorway that kind of paying homage to his mom and grandma in a sense. And then it's also his home state, so that makes sense. So now, let's look at the whole AE2, at least, Pure Love on the Miltnificent channel. And this is what I say, it looks kind of like, in terms of the shape, kind of resembles the AE1 low. And you can see the side-by-side similarities. The heel counter is a little bit different. I'll get into that momentarily. But the height, just the height of the actual shoe, is fairly similar, right? I don't really see much of a difference, so I would treat this as a low. Here's what they did. If you remember, they put the whole plate, at least the propulsion plate, on the AE1 series. The shape of it was more so like an 8, if that makes sense. The propulsion plate that they put on the AE2 series, it's more so of an X. And the whole idea with the whole outsole and the propulsion plate on the AE1 series, they wanted to create more of a bounce back impact. So if you notice, the propulsion plate, which is more exposed on the AE2 series with that whole translucent outsole, you notice that there's an opening on both the top and the bottom of that propulsion plate. And the idea is that it's able to contort or bend a little bit more, which would give Ant that flexibility to jump up, have more freedom of movement. And that was the idea with the whole AE2 series. Now, they did the whole articulated fangs and got rid of the generative supportive wings that you see, those little TPU panels that you see on the 1 series, and they kind of exposed it for this like knit, it's like a knit design on the uppers, like a knit fabric. But the what I think they called these the fangs, and I actually like this just because this is supposed to create containment, but I can kind of see where that can be. So basically, if you're launching off the ground, when you're landing or you're making your cuts, this is supposed to grip down on your shoe, and it's very flexible. It's kind of like this whole TPU you see right here with the exposed mesh that I actually do like. They did kind of keep the whole textile upper on the actual shoe, just as they did with the AE1 series. The only difference that I can really see is outside of just the makeup and those generator supported wing and the whole fabric design right here is I actually can see a lot of light pass through more on the AE2 than I saw on the AE1. If you remember my videos, I would always like flash a light so you can see like where that light pass through or the possible breathability in these shoes existed. And typically it was around this sweet spot right here. You can see where my fingers are. But it looks like, you can probably see, actually you're going to see a video right here because I can see light pass through kind of in the same area, but a little bit more. There's also the lace system. So the lace system, I'm glad that they kind of moved away from the rope series because I felt like the rope laces on the AE1s would be undone. Kind of had the double knotted. You can see right that I did right there. And they kind of replaced it with the whole flat or oval style laces, which kind of can't unlace as much. So I think that that was a stepping stone right there. And actually, the one thing that they did with the AE2, at least the Anthony Edwards 2, that they did away from the Anthony Edwards 1 mid was that whole lacing system. Now, they changed this design when they did the whole Anthony Edwards 1 low. It was easier to lace up. And I think that they just basically continue that pattern since, you know, consumers actually like the lacing system on the Anthony Edwards 1 low, and they just transitioned it to the Anthony Edwards 2. Similar to a certain point, but you can see that the whole eye stays on the actual outside versus the actual inside for more containment. But the heel support is where it gets interesting. This carbon fiber-like textile plate that exists on the back, you can see they both feature Adidas on the heel plate, or the heel counter, I should say. But you notice that there's no no tail is what I like to call it. But there's no tail in the back. They just basically changed the direction of how your heel sits on the actual shoe. So think of this shoe. This is the AE1. And you see how the plate actually wraps around. Now they've taken that engineering design concept and they put the support kind of on each side of the heel. So it's basically keeping it structured. I remember a Yeezy basketball quantum shoe that they kind of came out with. This was Adidas. And they kind of gave it the same idea. So this is what I'm getting at. When you first put your shoe or you put your foot in here, there's cushioning and padding. You'll see a picture right here, but there's padding inside the actual shoe. Because of this, and because of the slope or the way it goes inward, it usually pushes your foot forward until you have enough wear and tear into it and you're pressing down. Like if you put this shoe on, you press down towards your heel and you're kind of forcing your heel to go within those pads. It's what's going to happen is it's going to feel like it's pushing your foot forward. That's how the Yeezy Quantum basketball was until you got a little bit more wear into it. So I say it's going to feel weird at first when you put it on, but you'll see a video I'm talking about. Put pressure towards the heel and kind of get your foot used to that actual cushioning system that sits towards the back. And of course they did put that Adidas logo on the back, and I think they put the Ant logo on the tongue as well as the actual insole. And this is where it gets real interesting because when I'm looking at the shoe, it's kind of like, I think they said light strike and boost. I want to say it was a combination of a layer of light strike with the whole Adidas boost that they put in here. Like now I can feel it. You can actually see it just like you did with the AE1 low. But another thing that I noticed that's different is that there's more cushioning towards the heel in terms of the boost that they utilize towards the forefoot, first the forefoot. Forefoot, I think it thins out a little bit. And what's ironic is, maybe I can get this on, I'm going to get it on video. If you were to look at this shoe, you could actually, and this is what the highlight, if I wave my hand, I can see my hand. When I take the insole out, I can see my hand through the outsole. Like I can see the shadow of it. So it tells me that there's definitely a thin layer of jet boost, or at least light strike combination in this actual shoe. Whew, man. But what it does, it creates a lot of flexibility. So you can see, like, I can just basically take my fingers and you can see what I'm talking about in terms of the pressure. I don't think I was able to do that with the AE1s, and I could be wrong. Yeah, see, it's a lot harder to press in. So you can see the difference in terms of the build and design. So this a little bit more flexibility. It's a lot lesser, and a lot weighs less, I should say. Weighs less, but this definitely can press in a little bit more. Well, this is definitely good. But they also kept, and this is what I was shocked about, the herringbone traction that they put on the bottom. It's not the same as the AE1. It kind of is and it kind of isn't, but it's definitely herringbone. It's just bladed out, right? So they created, you can see the herringbone direction. It's just broken out in different blades from top to bottom. And of course, they got that plastic plate that sits on top of the mid portion of the outsole. But if you flip this upside down, some people say it does look like, and kind of now that I'm seeing it for the first time, in addition to the whole Ants logo that sits right there, it kind of does look like an A. So maybe they're paying homage to Anthony Edwards. I could definitely see that, but you can see the TPU plates that they put towards the heel in the front of the shoe, again, for added support. And they actually kept the toe box with the whole 3M paneling. I like that. Originally, I thought that this portion was 3M, but I kind of confirmed that was not the case. And they also put the Ant logo towards the heel kind of discreetly. But on the front, they put the Adidas logo here, as well as the medial. I don't think I see anything on the lateral in terms of Adidas logo. But I like the overall design and concept. Part of this portion, though, it does remind me of the Harden. Don't get me wrong on this one. I think it's the volume 7, and this is what I'm talking about, like this portion. And how they built this. Felt like they gave a little bit of a Harden effect. Kind of probably why they went with that whole knit-like fiber, knit-like material, I should say, that they put on the upper towards the shoe. But overall, the design concept, the execution, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I think some people are a little reluctant just because of the colorways that they're coming out. But I'm pretty sure as the season goes on, you're going to see different colorways that you may have not seen in the AE1 series that may pop out a little bit better on the AE2 series than it did on the AE1. We shall find out. But your boy Miltnificent, man, I am out. Anthony Edwards too. It does come with an extra lace, and I do like that for the price point. It's actually really good. I do want to do that on feet because I want to put these on and show you guys what I was talking about, because I'm telling you, there's definitely a flexibility with this whole propulsion plate. And I like the way that they engineered it a little bit differently. I know it doesn't seem much in terms of the spacing from the front, at least the top and the bottom, but it does create a lot of flexibility, which can give you more bounce back and more of an advantage on the court. Off the court, treading, this outsole, definitely going to wear down. So just be a little cautious. I think this is more of an indoor shoe than an outdoor shoe, but in terms of basketball play. But your boy Miltnificent, man, Anthony Edwards 2. Let's do that on feet. Now do the lace swap. You guys, stay blessed.